Hello, everyone. This is going to be part 3 of the Xmart and Honest Review series. This is just going to be my thoughts and stuff after a month of usage and, just giving an update on everything, pertaining to the service and everything and how it is after a month. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, I suggest you go back and watch those videos because the part 1 chronicles, my initial, issues or problems that arose when I initially started the service. Part 2, talks about that a little more and, talks about the resolution that had came to fruition. And so that's going to be in part 1 and part 2. So, if you want like the full story, I suggest you go back and watch those 2 videos so you could, get the whole story. But after a month of usage, I found the service really good, at least for me, because before what I was using when I've stated this in the previous videos, I was using something like this called a hotspot, a regular hotspot. I take it with me, and it was fine and stuff. The speed and stuff was fine, and it worked and everything. The only issue that I ran across, it wasn't the service or anything like that. Customer service wasn't the company or anything like that. What it was that that service, and I'm trying to, as I get the back, show you. So turbo hotspot. This service, what happened was, it just wasn't enough as far as per se the gigs or what was being offered, because it was good. The speeds and stuff were fine, but when it came to me downloading and stuff like that, at first, especially when I first started off that service, I really was running into issues whereby I had to, I was running out of gigs and I had to keep, adding $15 to it or whatever, adding some money to the service to get it back up and running to get me through that month. And it did get better. It did get better during that time of me using it, but it still was the fact that it may be a time when I want to download something or something of a large file size or something, and I run into an issue because this service only had 100 gigs a month, and normally if I was just running the mill online, streaming my music, watching videos, stuff like that, it wasn't an issue because I don't consume enough like that during the month at that time for me to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to go through just 100 gigs of just watching YouTube videos or streaming music or whatever. But when it came to, like, for example, gaming, like if you wanted to do gaming or whatever, and these days, the file sizes of the games are 50 gigs, 70 gigs, 100 gigs plus, Call of Duties and all these other games, AAA games that come out, the file size is large. And so it would be like, I would run into the issue whereby if I had like a particular game or something that I played casual or whatever, and an update came, they'll be like, oh, hey, this update is 40 gigs, or this update is 50 gigs. I'll run into an issue whereby it's like, okay, hey, that's eating up half of my allotted space on here. It would eat up half of my space on here, and it would leave me with the fact that, hey, I have to monitor how much I'm using or whatever. No, and don't see you have multiple things like that's trying to download. You either don't download them or you download them, and then you have to go back to that other issue that I mentioned before about having to add money to it. So this service worked fine. It's just that I didn't want to, no longer wanted to deal with that issue of, oh man, I have to look at the gigs. Maybe I may go over, maybe I not, maybe I don't. Even if I don't, with this, going back to this, it's like, hey, it's unlimited. So I don't even have to think about that when it comes time to download something. Hey, it's just a download. I don't have to say, oh man, let me check and see how many gigs it is to download. Let me see how many gigs this update is. It's just, I wanted that freedom of having that unlimited this service. So, I've used it for a month, and it's pretty good. The speeds are good and everything, and they say when you get it, try to sit close to a closer spot whereby the signal can go uninterrupted and stuff. Don't put the router in your closet or whatever, which is like common sense. So I've been getting good speeds on there. The previous video I showed some of the speeds I was getting, and I've been getting those speeds and better consistently. And I've one of the questions that people ask when they're talking about the service, how does it do as far as streaming, gaming, downloading and stuff? It does fine in all those areas. I've downloaded things that were 100 gigs, 60 gigs, whatever, the file sizes, and it downloaded it real fast. Some of the games maybe took like maybe an hour to download, hour and a half. It just depended on the game, whatever. Like I said, it didn't take that long to download, and even as far as the streaming or whatever, it streams perfectly fine. I've watched YouTube videos, and it hasn't been buffering or anything like that. I haven't been trying to catch up or anything of that nature. It runs perfectly fine. No bottlenecking. The issues that I've ran across, it has nothing to do with the actual service itself. Is just my computer isn't. It's time for me to upgrade my computer, so I can recognize when it's my computer, lagging behind, and if it was the internet itself, and it hasn't been, even as far as with gaming, because that's a popular question that comes across when people are interested in this, and I've had people comment on previous videos. They've asked, okay, what about the gaming and stuff like that? It's when you're gaming, it doesn't lag and stuff. Your ping isn't high. You're not, if you're into first person shooters, it's perfectly fine. You ain't got to worry about it lag or anything of that nature. So yeah, like I said, it's been a good service. I keep mine plugged up on both my computer and my gaming system. I keep it plugged up Ethernet. Even when I didn't have it plugged up through the Ethernet, even for a short period of time, I still was getting good speed. So even if you say, hey, I can't plug it up, can't have the Ethernet cable running, I don't want to, it's gonna work fine too with that. Like I said, customer service is good with them. They give you, they got a number. You contact them, they'll call you back. Sometimes they'll message you, and follow up and say, okay, hey, how are you doing? How is your service? And blase, blase. So yeah, like I said, it's a real good service. I don't know, as far as what they're offering, as far as like with the plans and the deals right now. When I signed up, for this router, it was like 140, 145, and they gave me a 14-day day trial, to use the service. And actually that was one of the good things about them, which I mentioned in the previous video, that I kept running into issues with the service and stuff, which I chronicled that in the first video and followed up in the second video. But even in the midst of all that, during that time of them resolving that issue and getting that straight, they kept pushing back the trial period. So in turn, it was like they wasn't charging me and saying, okay, hey, they charged me and I'm not using the service. I was able to use the service and stuff like that, and even during the the beginning times, I'm glad that they let me just use it because it wasn't, the speeds wasn't that high. And they once when they resolved that, they finally started the trial period, so they let me use it. And that was one good thing about them or whatever. Yeah. So like I said, if after a month of usage, I'm pleased with it. Like I said, I think they have a website. I may link it down in the video description box if I can remember. Like I said, you can always comment. Even if I do forget, you come in, I can follow up and give you that information. As far as referrals, I don't think they do they do a referral system, but it's not like, oh, hey, I can drop my code down below and then you can use my referral code. It's more of a hey, name basis. Hey, I have to give them a name, a number, information, or whatever, and they contact you, and then things of that nature. Yeah, one more thing. I say the monthly bill, which I have to go back and talk to them on. Like I said, I'm paying. I paid not last month was like $60 a month or something like that, $65, and that wasn't that far off from from this, because I actually was paying $55 a month for this, and that's why I wanted to switch over, because I was looking up saying, hey, if I'm paying $55 for this and only getting 100 gigs, why not just pay $10 more or whatever and get unlimited and not have to worry about running out of gigs in a month and potentially paying more? Because there was times that I've used this, paid that initial $55 and then ran out of gigs and had to go and give another another $15 just to keep my service running, and that turned into $65, $70. So it was like, hey, I can pay that same amount and get unlimited service. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty good. And I'm based in Texas, and the service that they're using for me is AT&T. It may be different from you. For you, you might have T-Mobile may be good in your area. Both T-Mobile and AT&T may be good in your area. But I would go and I would basically, if you would base it off of, hey, if you have a T-Mobile phone and you're getting 5G coverage and the coverage is good on your phone, that's where you will go with this. If you got AT&T and it's you will go with that, and either or, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's going to be at the end of this video. Like I said, go back and check part 1 and part 2 out if you want to get the full story on everything that has happened. Like I said, at the month of usage, it's been good for me. Any questions that you all may have, you can comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. I appreciate y'all spending the time watching this video. You have a wonderful day.